G'day, just going to quickly go through the markets for the day. Where we're at, just very briefly. So this was today. On any given day, I always start out, just have a look where we're at. The thing to note, the first thing to note when I'm looking, I've got two sets of indicators here. I've got, they're both relating to the SPX, which is the biggest of the index options, but it's also just looking at volume. It's got the biggest weight of action happening. So I think it's in the order of sort of 50 trillion at the moment. Where the next biggest is the MAG 7, which I think are in the order of about 20 trillion. So what I try and do is I put them together. So down here below, so I have a regular liquidity indicator. Red is selling above the golden line, green below the line is buying. And again, this is a time layered indicator here, and the fattest line is closest to the surface. It's 15 normalized periods of whatever we're looking at here. So it's 15 3-hour periods. So it's looking at 3 weeks, and that irons out Monday trading and Friday trading and gives us a better idea of how much trading is actually happening today. Here, the thinnest line is 1,500 periods. I think that's correct. I just check my maths. No, it's 500 periods, and you can alter those, but this is the time setup that we like the best, and gives us the best look back at how liquidity spreads out over a period of time. So if you have a heavy period of buying, it takes a while for that liquidity to spread out. It can't just all of a sudden stop. You see tops like this top forming here. So the top has really been forming. It started forming in December, and it went through till the middle of February for that top to form. Tops and bottoms are interesting. Tops tend to have long flats, whether it's a short time period or a longer time period. They have flat tops to them rather than spiky tops. Spiky tops are happening during they're just pullbacks in limited liquidity during a longer rising period. And we see longer, flatter bottoms being formed. That maybe they still spike, but they're staying within the green period. That tells us that we're in a buying period. So here we can see recently we've had a couple of tops, very short, but there was some topping in them. Interestingly, if we pulled up the MAG 7, so down below here I've got the MAG 7, and you can see the MAG 7 has had a very different, that doesn't look like the MAG 7 to me. It's Bitcoin futures. Let's just pull up the MAG 7. So this is it. These are groups down below that I'm having. It's just resetting itself here. And we can see the majority of that time that's below. And here, when we had this big roll on the 31st of July, so the end of the quarter, we actually had a whole lot of buying here in the MAG 7. And that has been pushed through. We then had a period going sideways with the MAG 7 above the golden line, and we see that we have a sideways period in the SPX because it's just not big enough to go itself. And then again, we've had buying below. Even though we had this selling period at the SPX, the buying was so strong here in the MAG 7 that it dragged everything up. And here, just check, this is on MAG 7 too. And so here in the time lag, we can see this buying again. We can see it in the time lag period as well. So I use them both together. So then I just quickly zoom in to see where we are at the moment. Again, I can see that we've had strong buying. Not as strong in the MAG, but the MAG has come off this very big buy, a flat period, and it's definitely down below and buying again. So then I go into the 15-minute period, and that's really telling me how we're going to close each day. So if we have a big buy into the day, into the close, it tells me that we're going to have a good day the next day. Here, we've had a sell into the bottom of the day. It's really only just bought in the end, but we did see buying in the MAG, and that's given us the bump up for the day. We then had a sideways period in the MAG, even though we've had some strong buying in the SPX. It hasn't really helped the SPX. It really hasn't helped until we've got this buying going again. This was the Tesla buying, and we've seen a good bump up here. And it's gone sideways. There's a little bit of buying here, but it's generally sideways. And then I just my last zoom in on any given days to see what we've been looking at. So here in the SPX, we did have good buying into the close today. We've been completely sideways in the MAG pretty much since yesterday lunchtime. SPY, not a strong, different bunch of traders, but SPY gives you a very different look at what's happening. SPY here, we can see there was a little bit of buying into the close. They're a little bit keener than the big traders are in the SPX. If I look at the Qs, I can see in the Qs there's a little bit of buying. It does relate to this little bit of buying here, but it's been pretty sideways, more sideways than we were seeing in the SPX and its proxy. Let's just change this one out and we'll go and have a look and see what the Russell. I don't know. Let's just look at the Russell lit hours and we'll change over here to the Mag 7. We'll just zoom out and see what the IWM's been. So the IWM has had periods of selling and then it's moved into some better buying. So let's just have a look what if we just put the lit hours, if we put them together, and I'll just open that up. It's not as neat and tidy, but we can just see that there has been some buying through here. There has been some buying through here, even though the IWM hasn't shown it as well. Very difficult with time periods to put in the futures because it's missing some of the time periods when it's laying them out, and you will just get a scattergun that's very difficult to read. So in that case, if you were looking at all the futures together, you'll get a much better because their timing is much closer together. So here we can see these strong buying periods. Again, it's bumped up, and we can see that down below here in the futures, we're getting a cleaner look at what's happening. There's a little flat period here, and we can see it in that day. So then if we went and we looked at what was happening into the close, we can see during the closed hours here that we did see some good buying into that last period there, and then the next day inevitably will open up. Now if I just quickly change that through and we looked at that bump up, we can see that just coming down into that close we had some strong buying. That strong buying has given us this big bump up, and then yesterday we had a whole lot of selling going into the close and we've opened down below. So we really set ourselves up. The trade that is being offset in the futures overnight is really just offsetting what we had seen here in the selling. Today, I think that is a little bit negative in the IWM. Even if we go to the 5 minutes, I don't like this sort of raising flag, and we see we've got some sideways movement. Let's have a look at the TNA. Was the TNA better? Yeah, the TNA had a little bit of buying during the centre of the day. It's probably a balanced day in comparison to the IWM. Anyway, I hope that helps you understand the different uses of the different indicators that we use, and I'll catch up with you in a day or so with another liquidity update. Thank you very much for listening.